Good day, YouTube. Mr. Darby here. Today I'm going to do an out-of-the-box review of Moebius's 1964 Nova kit, Super Sport. This, it's the beginning of March of 2022. So this kit, I think, has only been out maybe a week so far. I purchased this kit at a hobby shop in Louisville. I didn't order it by the mail. This is the box. This is what it looks like. The kit number is 2320. I saw on YouTube another video that someone has done of the 1965, I think that's what he said it was, Nova Gasser. So, we have different versions already of this basic body style. So this is, again, the 64 Nova Super Sport kit. Here are the directions. The artwork is the same as what is on the box. It folds open, gives you different directions on what to do and what not to do. And then it also gives you, like most Moebius kits, it gives you the Ditzler paint codes for the different colors that came out for that car that year. And that's actually helpful because if you go to your local automotive paint supplier, they can translate those paint codes and actually make you paint or mix you up some paint. And what I do is I don't have them mix it for painting a real car. I have them mix up touch-up paint, but I ask them to put the touch-up paint in a can instead of the little bottle. Sometimes you can get 4 ounces cheaper than you can get an ounce in the touch-up bottle, because the touch-up bottle has a ball bearing in it and a brush to brush it on, but you want to airbrush it, so you can get the same paint pre-mixed to be a touch-up paint in a can. And that's what I do. And just make sure you know what reducer they use. Buy the same reducer, and you can thin it with that. If you stick with the same brand, like I use Shopline, which is PPG, I use a reducer for that brand of paint, so I can have a whole lot of it. So anyway, the inside of the instruction sheet, it only opens up so far. And it's the basic simplified instructions. So I suggest that you test fit everything before you actually glue everything. A trick for you beginners is if you're not in a rush, use some Elmer's white glue to put things together, so you get the feel of how it should fit and how it goes together, where you want to put paint and where you don't, and to make sure you put the right parts in the right place. And I'm not trying to be condescending, because I do it more times than I'm willing to admit, where I glue a part on in the wrong spot, or and then it's a pain to take apart, especially if it's been painted. So on the very back side, you have basically a built kit that shows you how to detail the interior and the dash. And then you have the same with the motor. And then you have pictures of the body to help with decal placement. So those are the directions. Now on to the body. So the body actually looks really good. It's got molded in emblems on both sides right here for the SS. There's, from what I can see, no flashing. Just a little bit on the outer edges, or on the, but it's the inside edge, and could be easily taken off with the back side of a X-Acto knife, or just some very light sanding, and that would be gone. Nothing that protrudes on the outside finish of the body. It's got some cat hair on it. The body is sort of rather transparent, but not too much. So I would suggest painting the underside of the body as well to keep it to get a more steady look. But there's a few mold lines here on the back pillars, but they're very light. It wouldn't take much to clean up this body. So all in all, it looks like it would be an easy kit to do. On the inside, you will see right here by the window vents some little recessed marks. That's so that you can drill the holes to put in the mirrors. They actually have pinned mirrors, so there's no more guessing where it goes. There's no more ruining your paint job. You can just push it into the holes. So I like to drill the holes out, paint the car, and then if I need to tweak it a little bit, the hole to get the mirror to fit, I just do it very lightly because I want it to press fit and be tight, and then a dab of super glue on the inside of the car, and you're good. Haven't even messed up your paint job. Anyway, the next thing I want to show you is the chrome trees. Sort of a letdown for me, but it's no big deal. Is on their Ford truck kits, Moebius actually made this a see-through grill to where you could see all the way through it, and they did not do that here. And you would think it's thick enough that you can, sand away the backside, but they have, unfortunately, locating pins, and so there's no way to get around those locating pins easily. Aftermarket valve covers, the trim for underneath the hood. I'm not quite sure what these pieces here are. They look like they're supposed to be some sort of tail light, but they don't really match this kit. These may be residuals from the gasser kit, but they don't look like they go to this kit. Rear view mirror, standard shift, sun gauges for under the dash, your door handles very nicely detailed, and here is what is kind of exciting. These little round things are the backs for the headlights, and these little tabs, the glass, the clear headlight lenses snap into these tabs so that they're tight enough you don't even have to use glue. You can really end up with be able to put something together without having the having that glue mess things up. And then you have the stock hubcaps, and they have 4 SS decals that go in the center of those hubcaps. And then, if I didn't say it already, the separate wiper arms. That's really nice. They have another chrome sheet. What I really appreciate is that the bumpers have no mold lines, so that if you're careful with the bumpers and you put everything together, they're going to look like they should. There's no mold lines. I really appreciate that. It's hard to see, but here are the mirrors, and you can see where they're pinned to pin into the body. And I'm not sure what this is. It looks like some sort of sun tack or something that they probably use for the gasser kit. A couple of twin mirrors to go on the back side of the car. Another piece of trimming that's probably for the trunk. An aftermarket air cleaner, license plate backings, the steering wheel horn ring, which is really cool. And then, not too pleased about this, but right here they have the actual tail lights. They're molded in chrome. So I guess some people like this because they can use a red marker, but I kind of wish they had molded these in red, and then you can trim them out with a chrome marker or something with some Moloto. But instead they have done it this way. Various different shifters as well. So that is the second chrome tree. Now we have the transmission tree, and with a few engine accessories. You have an automatic transmission, and you have a standard transmission. I'm assuming it's a 4-speed transmission and a 3-speed automatic oil fill tube, I think. It could be your lower radiator hose or upper radiator, but anyway, hoses, air cleaner, and a single carburetor intake. The second engine tree, the engine block comes in two separate pieces. You have two different styles of I can't even think anymore of see, you guys are yelling already. I know what that is. The different heads. I'm assuming that these are probably for headers and these are just for regular exhaust manifolds. So this probably was part of the gasser kit. You have another intake here for a single carburetor, but it's high-rised. And then you have stock valve covers, it looks like. Here you have stock valve covers, automatic transmission pan, the oil pan with a mounting location for the separate oil filter, stock exhaust manifolds. You have two different carburetors. You have a carburetor base and a carburetor top, or vice versa. Carburetor top, carburetor base, and then you have like what to me looks like a big old quadrajet starter, and just the various different parts for the thing. Timing cover, water pump, and your fan belts. Next is part of the interior and whatever accessory sheet. You have the backs for the front seats, and then you have the back seat. You have the pedal assembly for a standard transmission, your hood springs, and you have your steering column. Here's the floor pan, and it's made to where this, the door panels glue onto the side, so instead of having a multi-piece, everything is just one. That's something I like too, that you don't have to put a pan. If you ever decide to open the doors, you don't have to play with a lot of stuff. The bottom of the floor pan's very detailed. This looks to be the radiator support and fender support for the very front of the car, and of course the dash. Here's the hood. If you notice, the underside of the hood does not have sink marks. That is awesome. And though having to fool around with that, you can just paint it up and make it look wonderful. Radiator, fan shroud, upside down firewall. This is the radiator support, and then the tail panel. And the only thing I really don't like about the way they do this is that, if you want to cut the trunk out to make it work, then you have to cut this piece too and do a lot of fitting and crazy stuff. I wish that the actual trunk part of it was all one piece and with a body, so if you cut the trunk out, it'll open and close, and you're not having to worry about if you cut too thick or whatever. Here's the door panels, horns, master cylinder. I'm assuming these are bushings for inside of the tires if you want it to roll, and these look to be the drum brake backs. You have two different exhaust choices. I'm assuming one is for stock headers, or one is for headers, and one is for the stock exhaust manifolds. I would say this is stock exhaust manifolds, where the exhaust comes out the back by the bumper, and the headers where the exhaust comes out just after the tires. They may come out before the front tires, but usually they make them come out after the tires. The next tree, this is interesting. There's two batteries here, and again, I believe it's because this shares parts with the 65 gasser. This is a more modern battery. I like to call them 6-pack batteries because it looks like a 6-pack of beer. And then you have a stock battery. These are your spindles, shock towers, steering wheel, overflow bottle, more shock towers. These look like traction bars, which is, I find kind of funny. But yeah, these are traction bars, I guess, if you're doing the gasser or if you just want to do a mild custom. And I remember back in the day, you know, we'd have 6-cylinder cars that couldn't spin out, wouldn't break traction on ice, but we'd put traction bars on it because they looked cool sticking out. You had to paint them red so people could see them, even though there was absolutely no reason to have them. Kind of like putting purple hornies or glass packs or cherry bombs, whatever you want to call them, on a 6-cylinder motor. It didn't do no good. It just made it sound like a farm tractor going down the road. But it was cool. Yeah. And then you have 3 different center consoles. It looks like 2 are probably for automatic, and 1 is for the standard transmission. That's what I'm thinking. And then you have your tie rods and different suspension assemblies, and another master cylinder. That's interesting. And a few other pieces that I don't know exactly what they're there for yet, but they're there. And your relief springs. And so now we come finally to the second to the last sheet. This is your inner fender wells, very well detailed. It looks to me like a Ford 8-inch rear end, or not a Ford, but it looks like it doesn't look like a very large, I don't know what Chevy sizes they have for rear ends, but it's not the best rear end, I don't think, for, you know, that looks like a stock rear end to me. Your pedal assembly for an automatic transmission, drive shaft. This is cool. These are the top of the shock towers that goes under the hood. They're actually separate. That's really cool. Your subframe assembly for the front for the motor. You got shocks, and then you have your steering gearbox. So that's all for those trees. The last tree I have is the window. You have the rear and the front glass, and they're connected to the trees in such a way you can remove them without damaging them. 2 wing vents, and I don't know how well you can see it, but the headlights with the little tabs. Normally these press fit, you don't even have to glue them. And earlier I showed you those headlight buckets. I'll show you again. So let me put my fat fingers in the way. So right where my finger is the headlight buckets, and so somehow those would connect onto there, you know, sort of like this. Yeah. So anyway, and then we have, of course, you're wondering where these are, the 2 front seats. So that's pretty much the low down and dirty. A quick look at what's in the box for the 64 Chevy 2 Nova Super Sport Coupe. I can't wait to start seeing these being built and displayed, because there's so much you can do with this Super Sport Coupe. Rarely do you see them stock, but I have seen them in real life stock. But people do all kinds of crazy stuff with these things, so it'll be fun to see what happens. And in true Moebius fashion, they like to, you know, not just build the kit and leave it at that. They like to make many renditions. Good example is their truck series. You know, there's from the 60s to the 70s. A lot of people don't realize the 1970 Ford trucks in real life had the same frame and suspension and engine components as the trucks from the 60s, just different body styles. So and I'm sure that this car in real life was no different, that there could be a whole lot of different variants using similar parts. So it's going to be fun to see what all comes out of Moebius using this base Chevy platform. So anyway, my friends, I hope you like that down and dirty review. I'm kicking around the idea of putting it together here soon, just as a quick build, nothing fancy, but I don't know if I want to get to it. Every time I think I have time, I'm distracted with something else in life, and I already have too many projects going on. But don't I always say that? Yeah. So, with that, my friends, remember, it's just a hobby. Have fun. Enjoy it. And good day.